Hey, welcome to another episode of Uncle Ricky's House Live. I'm just gonna mess around for a little bit, see who checks in, but we got a full schedule tonight. We're gonna talk about Maui. We're gonna talk about well, of course, you can't do anything in this country without talking about Donald Trump. We're gonna talk about that fourth indictment, the indictment that really, it seems to be affecting him. We're gonna talk about what is involved with the Maui disaster. Talk about the possibilities of Trump actually going to jail and what's going on back and forth with this fourth indictment in Georgia and the difference between the state indictment and a federal indictment and what it would mean to Donald Trump and his minions. We're also going to talk about some local politics, Nottoway County. Talk about Mr. Mitch McConnell and his you know, I don't mean to say anything bad about anybody. I don't, but people get old and people, they tend to break down, and Mitch is obviously breaking down. So we're gonna talk about what that may mean to the Republican Party, what that may mean to the country as a whole. Because even though you don't like Mitch, and Mitch has done some dastardly things, Mitch is still more sane than a lot of his, Republican compatriots. And I don't think Mitch has any real desire to overturn the country. Soft coup, Donald Trump forever. I don't think that's Mitch's thing. Let's see what else we have on the agenda here. As soon as you join in, feel free to join into the chat, to the super chat, so I know that you're here. Give me a shout out. Let me know what's going on. I'll give it a couple more seconds, see what happens. Before I actually get into the meat of any of these stories, and it will give me a chance to review my notes really fast. We're also going to be talking about who may, if Donald Trump does fall, because it seems like in the polls that he is falling, not rapidly, but you can see where people are maybe starting to put the brakes on and walking away. People that are serious about having a president uh, who the Republican Party may try to turn to. So far, Ron DeSantis was the early favorite, but he stuck his own foot in his own mouth, and that he deserves it for what he's done to Florida. And it seems like he's fading fast. But Vivek Ramaswamy is rising fast, and we really don't know. I guess he's a new thing for the whole country because he's not a politician, just like his idol Trump. He's a businessman, but unlike Trump, he's actually a successful businessman. But that doesn't make him any better, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Come on now, anybody out there? I don't want to do all the talking tonight myself. Somebody log in, let me know, and so y'all can make some comments, and we can go a little bit back and forth. That I like doing that better than sitting here running my mouth all the time. If you want to see me just run my mouth on a one-way thing, watch my videos. My channel, my YouTube channel, Uncle Ricky's House, is actually doing pretty good. But I'm at that point now where in order for me to grow, I may need your help. I actually, I need you to watch. That helps. I need that ad money to, I want to get out of the crib and actually start going out in public and doing some live things and do some firsthand things. But that costs money, and I'm retired. I'm on a fixed income. I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. I just want to get better at what I'm doing. But there is a way you can help me if you feel like it. At the bottom of this, there's a dollar sign that says that, and says super thanks with the dollar sign and the thanks beside it. Hit that, you see a bar graph, slide bar, and it starts out at $2 and it goes up. Look, I don't like begging, but it's at that point where I do need some help to actually get to the point where where it would benefit all of us, not only just me, but for what I do, for the type of format I can put out, for the type of information I can put out. Just slide that bar graph. You can leave it on two. and it'll tell you exactly what to do, and you get a receipt. It's not a ripoff. It's not cheating. It's just to help out the channel, and maybe get me a hot dog or two, like I really need it. Um, like I said, as soon as you hit, just let me know that you're out there. Sign in. So far, I'm seeing 0 for watchers. Uh, we've been at this for like 6 minutes. So look, I'm gonna start in on what I wanted to talk about. If you can't watch this, you can catch it because it'll be on my channel. Uh, you know, but hopefully sooner or later, if you like what you see now with just the one way thing, with just me running my mouth, imagine how good it would be if you got a chance to express your opinion and we could go back and forth. See, this is the thing that's wrong with this country right now. There is no back and forth conversation. It's all one way or the highway, or it's like really hyper partisan. In other words, if a Republican says the Democrat supposedly isn't supposed to listen, and vice versa. But we can't survive like that because there's too many people with too many different backgrounds to not be able to talk. You know, don't be afraid, to hop on that chat and say, Uncle Ricky, what are you talking about? This is how I feel. I like that. I need that because that's how I know, I'm not going to say that you're going to put me in check or I'm going to put you in check, but at least I know what you're thinking about. Maybe you're going to say something that interests me that I want to research further and come up with something, and put out a video that may release some information for you, may make you feel better about my channel. I don't know because it's all a one-way thing right now. It's me spitting out into the atmosphere and ain't nothing coming back. But Uncle Ricky's house, you can go on it. There's um and check it out. I think I got like 277 videos out. I've been doing this for going on close to 2 years now. So I don't feel bad, with 277 videos just being small time me, learning the business as I go. I never really wanted to be, like a big Showtime announcer or talking head. I want to keep it informal. I want to keep it casual. I want you to feel like, we're just sitting down in the living room or out in the backyard under the shade tree, busting it up. But I want to keep it on a level where it's real knowledge being transferred back and forth. Other things you might be interested in. I have a Facebook page under the same name, Uncle Ricky's House. And basically, it's another platform for my videos. And I try to do, like make it a little community thing. I'm starting to find out, that people, hey, whoever it is, check in, let me know who you are, say something. I'm starting to find out that, people sit there and watch you, but when you ask them to participate, all you get is silence. And that makes life really dull. I mean, I like hearing my own voice because I feel like I have something important to say, but I don't want to hear my own voice all the time, or I don't want to listen to my own thoughts all the time. I want to hear from the people that I know, the people that I consider to be my friends, the people in the public that, support Uncle Ricky's House, that find some value in what I do. I always want to hear from you. Um, some of the things I want to do on the Facebook page, it's open, it's public. I don't screen, new members or anything like that. I will kick you off if you in there, trying to take advantage of people and do, sell sex acts and all that. It's not that I do what I do, but I don't want it on my page. It's a public page, okay? And that's not what it's there for. Okay, we've been doing this now for about 10 minutes. So it's time to get into the real deal. Somebody will come on here sooner or later. Now, Maui, Maui, Hawaii. Okay, hold on a second. Get my notes together. Look, almost a little bit over a week ago, Maui had the wildfire. Well, I hope you know Maui had the wildfire. And don't be afraid to check in. Check into the super chat. Maui had the wildfire. It was a complete disaster. The island of Maui is a natural disaster area. There at the last count that I saw on the news, which is probably yesterday, they have confirmed 99 dead, but they've got the number of missing down to, I guess, somewhere around 1,000. But the presumption is that those 1,000 are dead, and it's all due to the conditions. Maui's an isolated island. It's modern. uh it's not like it's a backwards community or anything, but it's isolated. Public services are limited to what they can do on the island, and in a wildfire situation they could get no outside help fast enough. So right now there's 99 people dead, uh officially. There may be more. There's like over $9 billion worth of damage, and most of the people on the island are homeless or in temporary shelters. Now, if you look at the videos, the island was devastated, and one of the things that the residents of the island are really upset about. They have an early warning system. The early warning system was put there for all kinds of emergencies, everything from earthquake to typhoon, hurricanes. That's what it was there for, and it didn't work this time. And the Hawaiian government, they're coming out with, the residents are banging them. Why didn't it work? What happened? What happened? They're coming out with several different answers, but it seems like nobody is really happy with what they are hearing. Now, it's hard. I mean, sympathy, concern. If you can help, all you gotta do is go on the internet and find out what funds are available and who you can send money to. But I would suggest one thing before you send your money, even though it's a good cause. Make sure you are dealing with a legitimate relief fund, because there's already several uh, grifters that have been busted for fake and phony funds, to help out the Maui survivors. It's a shame that people will take advantage of a natural disaster. Hey, what's up, Randy? How you doing? Hang in there. Just drop a line when you want to make a comment. I'm gonna go through some things, talk, whatever. But right now we on the Maui thing. Um, it's just sad that this kind of devastation can occur, and in this day and time in 21st century, that Mother Nature can still put a foot up our butt and we are stymied. And it's unfortunate people have to go through the pain of recovery, but at least you got to think about it like this: you're still alive to get a chance to recover. Things can be replaced, lives can't. All right, let's move on to the next subject. Oh, before we leave that, scientists are already saying that climate change had a lot to do with why this wildfire spread so fast. Everybody thinks of Hawaii as, lush jungle type atmosphere or either oceanfront, which Hawaii basically is. But because of the climate change, Maui, the island, the forest is a lot drier than it has been. In other words, there's not as much moisture in the ground. There's not as much moisture in the plants. They were under a red flag condition, just like in California or Virginia or wherever. In the summertime when it gets really dry, they put up the warning. No throwing cigarettes out your car door, no outside burning. And they still don't know exactly how the fire started. They know where the fire started, and they thought they had it extinguished. They thought they had it under control, but because of the high winds they were having, it turned into the perfect storm, with the fire up and turned that island into a blazing inferno. Let's see, got some comments. Let's see. Mr. Muller he wants to know if it was a natural disaster or a man-made disaster. I mean, it could have been due to an accident. Somebody didn't put out a campfire. Somebody was playing with kids, playing with matches. Somebody didn't put out a cigarette. But anytime these wildfires start, they usually started because of something people do. But then it takes on a own. They take on a life of their own, and it becomes a natural disaster. It destroys nature. Once you destroy nature, mankind gonna suffer too. So whatever it was, natural or man-made, it was a freaking disaster. Um, Wherever's at, I see some numbers rising. I like that. Go ahead and check into that super chat. And leave some comments so we can get some discussion going back and forth. I'm gonna move on to my next topic, and that would be my prompter here. Got my ghetto rig going. All right. I guess we got to go down to Georgia. And of course, unfortunately, we got to talk about the 45th president of the United States, the twice impeached, 4-time, I don't know what the term is for 4 times, indicted former president of the United States. And hopefully, and I know I may get some negativity for this, I hope there is no chance that he will ever be president again. I was not a fan of Trump in the beginning. He didn't do anything while he was in the White House to make me change my mind. And of course, January 6th just sealed the deal, and all the despicable things that have been uncovered about what he did and how he did it and the people that went along with him disgust me. There's no reason why he should even be allowed to be on the ballot again. I think they should really examine the 14th Amendment and really research what Trump did, because he took an oath to protect and defend the country as the president of the United States, and then he turns around and tries to overthrow accepted principles. Free and fair election, peaceful transfer of power. I can't roll with that. Some more comments coming in. Hold on. Politician manufacturing waste, etc. Call phone waste. You ever heard of HARRP? Yeah, I have heard of HARRP. I don't know exactly what it does. You can drop me a line to kind of get me in line or jog my memory. But I have heard of HARRP. The thing with the politician thing, it doesn't matter what political party you follow or if you're independent or whatever. Our political system on the whole has gotten so far out of line. And a lot of that is, you can blame the politicians for being crooked, not really caring about their constituents, lying to get in and all that. But it all boils down to us as voters. Either we don't vote, which is like, you ain't got no room to complain if you don't have any skin in the game. But also, when we do vote, we don't do our research. We don't look into the candidate's background. We don't look into the candidate's characteristics. Hold on, here we go again. Yeah, the Canadian wildfire, we suffering from the smoke from that. I don't think we'll suffer from the smoke from Hawaii, but it's the same effect. You destroy nature, you destroy property. It was like $9.6 billion damage in Maui. It's a disaster area, and climate change has a lot to do with it. The planet is drier, the planet is warmer. I mean, the water, the ocean water temperatures down like around Florida, like we're over 100 degrees for almost a month. But I think that this will maybe I mean, I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I don't want to see anybody get killed. But all of these disasters that are coming up, and it's becoming more and more evident that it's just not, the same way that it used to be. They're more intense, they're more destructive, and they're happening in places where they didn't happen before. So something is happening. This is not just a change in the weather. It's a change in the atmosphere. It's a change in the climate. And people need to accept that and start doing things to either to protect us, the people, from the effects of all of these things. You may not be able to stop it because it's Mother Nature, is God, or whatever you want to say. And even though man thinks that they are the smartest thing that ever happened, I don't think we're really, really ready to mess with the weather in that respect. All right, I'm gonna get away from. Let's see, one more. Okay, I'm gonna get away from Maui and get back into the Georgia thing. This indictment, a lot of experts are saying that this is the indictment that's going to make Trump nervous. This is the indictment that Trump is really scared of because, and it's hard to understand why somebody would fear a single state indictment over a federal indictment because of the weight that the federal government can bring down on you and the power. The DOJ has massive, massive amount of tools vice the Fulton County DA's office. But this is what people don't understand. Trump doesn't like what's going on in the federal system, but Trump feels like he can play his usual games, his silly games, his frustrating games, and you know play the federal court system. And even if he does get convicted, he always has that option of being pardoned, especially if he gets through the Republican primary. And I don't know how in the general election actually gets into the White House. There's always there's been, a whole lot of arguments, a whole lot of debates on whether Trump could pardon himself if he got back in the White House, or if a Republican actually won, would they pardon Trump? And at this point, I gotta say, they probably would. Hey, as you come in, feel free to check in. Feel free to join the super chat. This is what it's all about. We're gonna try to go back and forth tonight. Welcome to Uncle Ricky's House live on YouTube. But back to Trump. This Georgia thing has him disrupted, and a lot of it may have to do with some personal quirks that Trump has. Trump does not like women. He's been basically convicted of he has been convicted of sexual assault in federal court in a civil trial. And the only reason they didn't call it full rape, the judge later said that it was rape, but during the trial, they couldn't determine. And Eugene Curl, his victim that got him in the court, Eugene Curl couldn't tell the difference, couldn't testify as to whether it was his finger or his penis. Now, I'm not going to get into size matters, but the judge said the New York state rules, because she didn't definitely say penis, or she couldn't say that he penetrated her with his penis, it doesn't qualify as rape. It's only sexual assault. Slight technicality. But later, the judge said that Donald Trump is a rapist. He doesn't care how you look at it. The ruling was on could only be handed down according to the way the law was written. Now, but back to Georgia. This Georgia thing has a whole lot of, because it's in a state, it has good parts and bad parts. Bonnie Willis, who is the DA, Trump has a thing with against women and especially women of color. If you can remember back when he was president, a lot of his press corps interviews, whenever a black female reporter asked him a question, Trump made a special thing to downplay her, denigrate her, embarrass her in public. And he did it with several prominent black reporters, April Ryan, Mish Alcindor for National Public Radio. And he has a hard point against women with power. Bonnie Willis, woman with power, Fulton County DA. Fulton County was the one because Atlanta capital in Fulton County. That's where Trump called to Brad Raffensperger to find him the votes. I think it's what he needed, something like 11,700 and something to overturn the Biden win. And Raffensperger said no because they had already they weren't happy with the results of the election because Trump didn't win, and Republican handshake, bro, but they weren't going to overturn the will of the voters of Georgia, and they believed that the election was legit. And then that's how the big lie started, the fake elector scam. And this is how Bonnie Willis approached prosecuting Trump. She prosecuted it under the Georgia's RICO law. Any comments? Hold on. I got another comment. Somebody said Michelle Obama president in 2024. I've been hearing that a lot, but until I hear it out of Michelle Obama's lips, I'm not buying into it, because everything that I have heard from Michelle Obama herself after her 8 years in the White House as the first lady, she has no real interest in going back into that snake pit. Now, I'm just going on her feelings, and there's no use trying to push somebody into the presidency, because if they're really not interested, it's not for them. And if it's not for them, they're not gonna be an effective leader, no matter how intelligent or how open-minded or grounded they are. If you don't want to do the job, don't force somebody into taking a position that is so is if you don't want to be the president and you get put there, it's not going to be a good administration. And like I said, until I hear it out of her lips that she wants to run for president, then I might start buying into it and give it consideration. The back to Georgia. Now, the thing that Trump is really sweating is because Georgia is saying, look, we're going to treat, Fulton County is saying, look, we're going to treat everybody that was indicted in this indictment. There's like 19 people with, 19 people, 41 charges in total, and all 19 are, on multiple of those charges. They said they don't care who it is, whether it's the former president, whether it's a Georgia official, whether it's a lawyer. If you've been indicted, you're gonna be treated like any other criminal that comes into the Fulton County Jail, and they have until next Friday to turn themselves in. I think it's noon next Friday to turn themselves in. So we'll see what we'll see. The Fulton County Sheriff, I think his last name is Labatt. He said, "Look, if Donald Trump turns himself in, he's gonna get treated just like any other criminal. They're gonna get fingerprinted and they're gonna get booked." And up until now, Donald Trump has avoided all of this. The federal, Jack Smith didn't require it, and Alvin Bragg, New York, it was basically he came in, they arraigned him, blase, blase, and here we are where we are now. Um, what's different in Georgia? It's a state crime. So if Trump goes into court and gets convicted, he can't get pardoned by the president, regardless. I don't think a Democratic president would pardon him. And believe it or not, I don't think a lot of Republican presidents, if if it's a level-headed Republican president, he can be, Republican in doctrine and theory and all of that. But if, level-headed, not crazy, extreme right-wing MAGA, I don't think I don't think he would pardon him either, because you have to put the brakes on, and the only way you can stop this from happening now is to make an example of the one that tried it and failed the first time. In Georgia, Kemp is a Republican, but the way Donald Trump has gone after Kemp for not supporting him in the original steal the election move, it may be personal between the two of them. Even though I think Kemp is a savvy politician, he has a thick skin. He's not thin-skinned and petty like a DeSantis or a Greg Abbott. But Georgia law doesn't allow the governor to pardon a convicted criminal. They have a pardon board. And by Georgia law, anyone convicted of a felony has to do 5 years before they can be pardoned, unless there's some exceptional circumstances. So Trump may be headed for the Georgia pokey. I don't know. I mean, I would love to see that. I don't care if he was the president. I'm just saying, look, he is a citizen just like anybody else, regardless of whether he's in the White House or out of the White House. It's embarrassing enough what he's already done to the country. It's embarrassing what he's causing, the divide that he's causing in this country. If he's guilty and they prove him guilty, let his ass rot in jail just like anybody else. I think he's got over 100 counts against him now. And if I'm not mistaken, most of them, the majority of them, if not all of them, are felony counts. He's 77 years old now. So if they convict him on any of them, he's probably going to spend the rest of his natural life in jail. And I go, it's about time. Now, as far as his compatriots, just about all the lawyers that were involved with Trump, Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, Jenna Ellis, Cheeseborough, Easton, they're done. They won't be able to practice law anywhere else in the United States after this is over with. Some of them have already had their law licenses revoked. But I find it amazing that people of means that have had some amount of success, that have had some, that are financially probably better off than most of the people that I know, would risk everything behind a move that was just so counter to what America is supposed to be. And usually when you want to overthrow the government, it's because you're on the outside looking in. You're not on the inside trying to stay there. It's not unusual But usually, when you're on the inside trying to stay there, it kind of proves that you were screwed up to start with because you don't have enough to get the public behind you to legally vote you in to stay there. Donald Trump wanted to change everything so that Donald Trump would be the last real president of the United States. After that, it was going to be, I don't know, selection by committee, hierarchy, descent. Maybe he was going to make himself the first king or the first dictator. I don't think king would have worked in anything in America, but hey, first dictator, don't know. And hopefully we'll never have to find out. That's enough about Trump. We've been talking about Trump ever since he left the White House in 2022. And hopefully once all these trials start and a few of them end, we won't have to talk about Trump anymore until they announce the day that he enters a prison somewhere. Let's see. Any more comments? Let's check the comments. No comments. Nobody got anything to say about Trump? Anybody mind if I move on? Hey, everybody that's here, everybody that's not here, welcome to another episode of Uncle Ricky's House Live. I'm trying to put out some good stuff, some informative stuff. Would help if more people were here so I could get some more input. But like you say, got to build, got to get the way you want to go. I'm not going to stop. And hopefully one day y'all will think that, I'm putting out enough good stuff or putting out enough stuff you hate that, you just want to come on and tell me to shut up. I don't care. That's what I'm here for, the back and forth. As far as the polls go, all the other indictments, the previous three, have shown an uptick in Trump's popularity, especially in the Republican Party. But this fourth indictment, it seems that there is a shift that maybe the Trump campaign is getting the brakes put on because people with half a brain know, even if you are a diehard Trump supporter, you know that with the charges that Trump has, and I guess reports are coming out that there's other states that are going to process or prosecute the fake electors from this state. And because it was a conspiracy to do this, and other states have found links from the fake electors directly to Trump, the state indictments may not be over. The federal indictments may not be over because there is a grand jury still seated in Washington, D.C. that Jack Smith, the special prosecutor, is still presenting evidence in front of. And the question is it about bringing indictments against the unnamed co-conspirators in the indictment that he already had Trump on? Or is this an entirely new charge, new case, new trial for Donald Trump? There's a lot of questions, and it shouldn't be. No president should have conducted himself in a manner to even be allegedly guilty of the things that they're charging Trump with. Now, on the polls are shifting. When this all started, a lot of Americans didn't believe that Trump was even guilty. Now 60 or that Trump had actually committed a crime. I'm not going to say guilty because he's not guilty until a court of law says that he's guilty. Let's be fair. But 62% of Americans agree that Trump committed crimes. 62% of Americans agree that Trump committed crimes. That's a hell of a thing when you're talking about the former president of the United States of America. 51%, and that number is growing because it was less than that a month ago. 51% agree on several different polls. 51% agree that Trump should be held accountable if he's found guilty on the charges that he's being tried for in any of these trials. Now, granted, a lot of people say that the first case, the Alvin Bragg case, is BS, but it's still a case, and there's still going to be a verdict. And the Bragg case broke the dam because nobody, no prosecutor had ever brought charges, had ever successfully indicted a former president of the United States on anything criminal. So you can take that for what you want. As far as seriousness, yeah, I agree. It's not as serious as the other cases, but it's still a case. Um, let's get off of Trump. Unless anybody has a question or a comment, we're gonna get off of Trump for a second. All right. The violence that Trump is trying to whip up in the country. You know, he puts out these dog whistles. These at first they were kind of like quiet, subtle threats, but the closer he gets to actually having his butt run through the ringer, the more blatant he gets. Even though he's been instructed by like the federal judge in the DC case, and she's told him not only for the case that's in front of her, but the condition of his bail. In other words, he can run around free until he has to be in court or until they convict him. One of the conditions of his bail is that he doesn't break any federal laws, he doesn't break any state laws, he doesn't break any county law, he doesn't break any laws. And Judge Tanya Chutkan told him that, you start breaking laws, I'm gonna revoke your bail and you're gonna go to jail till you go to trial. Now, that lasted for maybe 48 hours because Trump has broken laws in Georgia since then, witness intimidation laws. Some of the things he said to people that were witnesses before the grand jury, like the former lieutenant governor of Georgia. So we'll see what that, where that goes, because you can't, we want to see justice be carried out. We don't, regardless of what most people say, we want to believe in that, no one is above the law, but you are trying a former president, and that kind of changes things. It doesn't change that the fact that that person should be tried. That doesn't change the fact that the trial should be conducted as much in line with the established process that anyone else would be tried. But because of the position that person held, there's going to be some differences. We've never been at this point before. But that doesn't mean that we should let the Mango Madman walk free. The thing in Georgia is going to probably move faster than either one of the federal trials, with more impact than the New York trial, and the potential for violence. I think Georgia might be the spot. I'm not saying that, offhand, but just considering what's been going on. The FBI already shot somebody out in Utah because he said he was going to kill President Biden. I mean, they didn't shoot him because they went to bag him up because Biden was going to Utah, and this guy was on social media saying he was going to break out the ghillie suit and his sniper rifle and go Biden hunting. And when they went to, collect him, so they could have grips on him while Biden was in Utah, the guy said, well, let's just bang this out now. And the FBI banged him. Same old story. But Trump's people, because they don't want to go to jail, a lot of them are just willing to burn the country to the ground. Because if there's no country, if there's no system, then I guess they figure there will be no jail for them. Question is, the Republican Party is kind of waking up, maybe too late, that maybe that might need somebody to run that's not behind bars or in uh, in court on primary days or in court for their precious convention. And that's the sensible thing to do. But who's going to replace Trump? Certainly not Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis did not translate well on the national scene because of all the things he's done in Florida, because of his heavy handedness in Florida, and the fact that the way he imposed stuff and made it almost instantaneous so he could show his power. Well, the ill effects of his power are evident in Florida, and the rest of the nation does not want to be the state of Florida, so they're backing off. And DeSantis's chances are sinking. He's been passed already by Vivek Ramaswamy, uh, the American Indian, not native. I'm talking Asian Indian, who seems to be like the rising star in the Republican Party. Basically, he's rising because just like Trump, when Trump came down the escalator, Trump was not a politician. Ramaswamy is not a politician. He didn't even vote until he was 32. I think he's 36 now. But unlike Trump, Vivek is an accomplished businessman. He biomed industry. He's a millionaire. He made his own fortune in the biomed industry, and I guess that thing makes him think that he can turn this country around, much like Trump promised. And if you listen to Vivek, it sounds like Trump with a better vocabulary and maybe, it's hard to say this, with maybe a little bit more confidence. But when Vivek says it, you kind of believe that he is that confident person because he said, he's always been the alpha male, but he's going to have problems because I heard one reporter say, yeah, Vivek is a smart guy. He has made some major accomplishments. He comes from, you know, I guess, the American dream family. His parents were immigrants from India that came to the United States. Even though they didn't come, I mean, they migrated to the United States, but it's not the migration that we have in our minds, the stereotypical, you know, the Statue of Liberty, give me you're tired, you're poor, you're hungry. His parents had money when they came to the United States. They are professional. They are in professions where you get a good paycheck. He grew up in, I think it was Cleveland, and he didn't have to, uh, he didn't have to really start from the bottom like you would think with the migrant picture. But when he's out in public, he wants to give you that opinion that he pulled himself up by his bootstraps when he didn't. Uh, he went to the best schools. He graduated. I think he's a Harvard graduate. He started out, making money. He didn't. It was no working yourself up the ladder. And this is what bothers me about Vivek because he has no political experience and his attitude towards people, he's very short with people, much like Trump, much like DeSantis, much like Glenn Youngkin. And it's obvious that he doesn't give a damn about the Constitution. One of the things he says is like, uh, he wants to basically gut the 14th Amendment. No more citizenship by birth. In other words, right now, everybody that's born in America is automatically an American citizen. Okay. Now, Vivek is an American citizen because he was born in America, but he's ready to deny that to other people. Why? Because he says he wants to protect the borders, the southern border and the northern border. He wants to make America for Americans. He also says that um, all high school students should be able to pass a social studies, a civil exam, or uh, do a defined period of government service or civil service, first responder, uh, military, in order to earn their citizenship. Now, this has been proposed before, but I think the thing that Vivek is really saying, it's not about making America better, it's about taking away the vote from the youth. Right now, 18, you can vote. He wants to raise the voting age to 25, and I don't think in my lifetime it's ever been that high. It was either 18 or 21. Um, 25, and the reason that Republicans are behind this is because the Republican Party as a whole has nothing to offer the youth of America. Now, the rich kids, the rich Republican kids, yeah, they're gonna vote Republican anyway. But to enlarge the tent, which they really don't want to do, they want to cut out the youth vote. He wants to destroy the FBI, the Department of Education, the Internal Revenue Service, and the CDC. Now, if you think about it, the FBI, regardless of all of the bad things about them, they are the top law enforcement agency in basically in the world. Uh, they're also are they're also a big key part of the intelligence apparatus, especially for domestic intelligence, because the CIA is by charter cannot operate in the United States. So if we get foreign spies inside of the United States, by law, the CIA can't chase them. They can advise, they can inform the FBI, but it's up to the FBI to take action. Now, Vivek, like Trump, I've seen him in about 10 interviews now, and quite a few of those were with women. And I'm not going to say he's too kind to women. And it also appears that he has a problem with women in power, and he has a problem with women of color. Vivek says he's about moral values, God, country, just like Trump, just like the MAGA movement. But he's going to have a problem out of the MAGA movement because the MAGA movement is wrapped around evangelical Christianity, and Vivek is a Hindu. He's of the Brahmin caste. India has a caste system, where there's a prioritization of the value of people and that determines the place people hold in society. Vivek's family comes from the Brahmin caste, which is the highest caste. Those are the teachers. Those are the philosophers, and I guess the lawmakers. But I don't know how that's going to, because he's not. I mean, I guess the still halfway insane or halfway sane Republicans can buy into his bullshit because he's saying the bullshit that all the rest of them are saying. But the crazy wing, the God country or nothing else part of the Republican Party, the MAGA ones, there's already, evangelical MAGA preachers already saying there's no way that we should be putting a brown skinned, multi God worshiping person into the White House. So that's something he's going to have to work with. And right now, by their past performances, I don't really see how he's going to do it. But, who am I? The other one that maybe deserves some mention, let's say honorable mention, in Iowa, the Iowans, because they're the first caucus, they are giving Tim Scott a serious look. But I don't put much faith in that either because Tim Scott is who he is, and I don't think Tim Scott has the personality to sell the rest of the country. So it's a question of candidates with too much personality and candidates with not enough personality trying to win the nomination from a party that is wrapped up and wrapped around identity politics. Um Moving right along, I see everybody. Oh, let's see. If you just checked in, If you just checked in, join the super chat. The last thing I want to talk about on the election scene and the Republican Party is Mitch McConnell. Now, I don't like Mitch. A lot of people don't like Mitch, but then again, there are a few people that love Mitch. But Mitch is getting old, and it seems that old age is catching up to Mitch, and Mitch is not functioning anywhere near the level that he should be to hold the office that he holds and to hold the position in the body that he holds. And it's starting to worry people. He went to a picnic and a fundraising event in Kentucky, and the people there in his home state, basically in his hometown, were chanting, Mitch must go, retire Mitch, retire Mitch. Hey, I hate to see it get that way. Same thing's happening on the Democratic side with Feinstein. But Feinstein doesn't have the swing nationally that Mitch does. And even though I detest Mitch's politics, I hate to see it happen because he is a human being. I would love to see Mitch go, but if he leaves right now or is forced out right now prior to the election, the MAGA wing of the Republican Party is going to go apeshit and just turn things up even another notch because even though Mitch has little control, it's probably the only control that anyone in the Republican Party with half a brain has when it comes to the MAGA wing of the party. So, as much as I detest Mitch for his politics, I would love to be able to see him hang in there at least until the election is over. And then after that, to be honest, Mitch can go wherever he needs to go or wherever he's going to go. Or let me stop before I get in trouble. Now, that's the thing with Mitch. Get around to some local politics. Like, I grew up in Virginia in a little town called Burkeville in Nottoway County. And it seems that that county and all the three towns in that county, all of them are having, all of them are having financial problems, but that's part, that's par for the country. Nothing is unusual about that. But the level of real corruption, assumed corruption, um, lack of effective leadership, government leadership, has come to the point that the county is about to boil over. It's the same thing that the rest of the nation is going through. Extreme right is just trying to tell everybody what to do, and I'm not even going to say the extreme left because there's really no extreme left in Nottoway County. Not a sizable number. There's probably Nottoway County is probably, if you really get to know the people, Nottoway County is probably one of the most moderate places you want to be, and that's probably why the county itself is in trouble now. Because the thing with moderates, they sometimes they tend not to give a shit about anything. As long as they can go to work, as long as they can build a house, as long as they can send their kids to school, they don't care who's in charge. But now it's getting to the point that you've got to care who's in charge, because the people in charge are the ones that are determined to tell you how you live your life. It's one thing to make laws, but it's another thing to dictate. And this is the battle that they're having along the lines of religion, along the lines of race, along the lines of education. Certain people want to get into power, stay in power, and not listen to the people that put them there. They just want to put out what they want to put out. And if you don't want to follow their philosophy, follow their ideals, they will attempt to either cut you off or find a way to remove you, because they are intent on making Nottoway in their image. Same problem the rest of the country's having. The towns, it seems that Blackstone is having issues with their town council. Certain sections of the town are saying that they're underrepresented or not represented at all, because they have the same problems that everybody else has in town, and they have the same desires, and they're not getting shit, but they still pay their taxes. uh, Council members and town officials are been involved in some crazy one-on-one altercations with residents of the town. There's innuendos of corruption. There's innuendos of contract rigging, and I'm just saying allegedly, but there's so much back and forth gossip. There's so much negativity, under the surface, that irregardless of what the real problems are, leadership has become very effective because they don't want to address anything. They want to deny people from certain neighborhoods any access to council, and while they want to bend over backwards for people from other neighborhoods, and then there's groups of people that don't feel either way, or don't fit into the category of the two extremes, that don't get any service at all because the council basically ignores them. Taxes go up, uh, utility bills go up, and service gets less and less. The quality of the service decreases. And when the citizens complain, it seems to either get shallow promises, or they play a game of kick the can moving. We'll have a couple special meetings behind closed doors, and we'll get back to you. And 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, nobody gets back on anything. And it's not, all the council people aren't bad, but it just seems that there's a little power clique in the council, and they run things, and the rest of the city, the rest of the town suffers from that. But then again, y'all put them there, so it's up to y'all to vote them out and put better people there. Crew in Burkeville, there's this thing called the boundary line adjustment, BLA, I think. Thing. um, Crew in Burkeville occupied basically the western part of the county, and it seems that Crew is attempting to annex a portion of Burkeville. And this portion of Burkeville that they want to annex, surprisingly, holds two of the biggest job centers in the area. That's Piedmont State Geriatric Hospital and uh, the state prison, um, you know, in Nottoway County State Prison, are all basically in the Burkeville Township. Now, Crew has the larger population than Burkeville, and but both towns are dying on the vine because there's no industry. All the industry moved out. The railroad moved out. The veneer plant was the biggest private industry in Burkeville. That shut down. All the small family-owned businesses, the car dealerships, have moved out. Now there's several startup enterprises there. There's several, there's a large population of independent food trucks there. There's restaurants, family-owned restaurants there. There's some chain fast food places there. There's gas stations. It's small town America, but there is very little hope for growth, and there's nothing there. there there's expansion, but it's not. It's expansion that is only using these towns for a place. It's things that are not going to draw permanent residents, and the people that live there, I guess, that want to stay there and basically die there, their lives are held in flux because they're not getting the service they need from the government, county government, or the town government. The infrastructure is crumbling. I think Burkeville, their water system is decrepit, but they don't have the funds to do it on their own. Now, this border realignment thing, there's a whole lot of promises, at the end of the rainbow, but there's a lot of things that are going to impact people immediately. One thing is taxes. A lot of people are going to be paying higher taxes no matter where they live, whether they live in the annex portion or the realigned border, because some people that are involved in this, they only had to pay county taxes at one time. They didn't have to pay town taxes. But now when they move the line, they're going to have to pay both county and town taxes. Just like people that live in the town, they have to pay county and town taxes. There are people that are going to be moved from one township to another just by the stroke of a pen, a realignment of an imaginary line on a map, and people that are going to get incorporated into Crew that used to be Burkeville. Crew has higher taxes than uh, Burkeville. So the tax situation is one thing. Public services is another. Uh, Burkeville is going to have a big problem because one crutch that they had because of the prison using town services, the state contributed towards a big portion towards the upkeep and the improvement of the septic and the water system. That's not going to happen. That's all going to go to Crew. Now they say there's going to be a subdivision built and an industrial solar plant, power plant, uh, and that's supposed to go to somewhere in West Burkeville to compensate for what they're going to lose. But that's not guaranteed, and there's already a big movement to squash that because there's a certain part of the population that and I'm not going to say politics has anything to do with it, but they are part of a political party that does not believe in science, that wants to use fossil fuel until either they use up all the fossil fuel in the ground or it kills everybody with the toxic emissions that all fossil fuels produce. those are the battles that are going on in the place that I grew up. And because it is the South, because it was the Confederacy, and that ideal, that temperament has always floated beneath the surface, and now it's on the surface. And racism is a big issue. Uh, I remember I was in like the seventh grade when they integrated schools, and honestly, it wasn't that bad. I mean, there were issues. Don't get me wrong, there were issues, but we seemed to, get along enough to get out of there. And a lot of us, when I say get out of there, we left because, as a person of color, eh, I hate to say it, but we knew our opportunities were limited, and so we military, college, or combination thereof, you know, became professional, and a lot of us never went back. Even though a lot of us have property there that we pay taxes on and all that was left to us, and but we have no interest of going back because there's public transportation is a new thing there. They just got their first intercounty bus line, but out of the three towns, there's only one. All the supermarkets are major super. Anything that you could count as a supermarket is in Blackstone. People in Crew and Burkeville either have to drive to Blackstone, which is anywhere from a 14 to a 20-mile drive, or go to Farmville in the next county over to shop. And I think it's in Farmville, it's like Walmart and Food Line. In Blackstone, it's Walmart. If you, as far as like local food shopping, there's Family Dollar Store, and you got to, I mean, not Family Dollar, General Dollar. And then if you eat in General Dollar, you got to know that your diet is really screwed up because all you're getting is starch and salt and sugar. And, with that, if you got high blood pressure, if you got diabetes, if you got heart disease, you may be eating and you might think you're eating good. And I don't see how you think you can think that you're really eating good if you're doing all your shopping at a Dollar General, but you're killing yourself. You don't have a balanced diet. You're eating processed food. Just like the farmer's dog commercial says, no dog should eat processed food all their life. Well, if you eating Dollar General food as your main supplier, because it's convenient, or because you don't have the transportation to, because that's in the country. I mean, even though they got a bus line now, it's not, it's still not convenient. It's better than nothing, but it's in its early stages and it hasn't developed, and it's a straight line route. You have to get to the route. The route doesn't come, it's not like in major cities where you got, you know, multiple routes going in the same direction, crossed by routes. It's not like that. You got one. It's basically down one highway, and you got to get to wherever the stop is on that highway. And there's not, the schedule is like you might be waiting hours between runs, or hours. It's in its preliminary stages. So it's still not appealing, but yet and still, I mean, they're trying to draw in new residents, and there's new businesses, but it's still either limited or it's special purpose. Where, and a lot of the businesses that are willing to come in, they're going to come in, but they're going to come with their own staff. They're going to come with their own, it's they might hire people from the area, but it's not going to be like, hey, this plant's going to open up and there's going to be 1,000 jobs. No, this plant's going to open up and it only may be 800 jobs, because 200 of them are already filled with the people that they're going to transfer from the plants that they already closed down. It's a mess. Then there's the corruption. Um, Backdoor deals, people in office illegally, uh, people been in power in certain positions for years, and they've taken advantage of the power. They've exceeded the purview of their office, And for a long time it was like a handshake and look the other way because they so and so, or their last name was this, or their last name was that. And now it's getting to the point that the residents are tired of being shortchanged in the name of whatever. And it's getting ugly. But that's how politics are. And unfortunately, that's the place that I grew up. Will it get better? It could if people start taking their vote serious. People, look, stop voting because so and so says this, or so and so has this much money, or so and so lives in this neighborhood, or so and so goes to this church. Vote for people for their character and their ability to do the job, their qualifications to do the job. That's what it's all about. That's where the real power is in the individual vote. If a person is really qualified, if a person has a plan that seems like it would work, that has been proven in other places, or that it would work in Nottoway County, or you want to see it given a chance to work, cast your vote. Stop casting your vote just because that person is in a party and you're registered in that party. Stop casting your vote because so and so, got 10,000 acres and or so and so is, this or comes from that family. This is why Nottoway County is in the position that it's in now. You have to strike a balance, and the vote is your tool to strike that balance with. Okay, look, I've been doing this for over an hour now, and it seems that we're not going to get any more viewers. I want to thank the people that showed in, even if you just popped in and popped out. Hopefully, you'll watch the replay of this and get interested in what I do and show up because I'm going to be here next Thursday too. And I know I got to fight to make this grow because I'm just a little dude. But like I said, if you watch my channel, if you subscribe to my channel, if you watch the replay of my live, I'm Uncle Ricky. This is Uncle Ricky's house. Be, you know, your interaction, if this wants to make you subscribe, or if you have subscribed and you see it, hit that like button, leave a comment or two. You can still leave a comment. And look, I don't like begging for money, but there's a lot of things that I could do that I can't do just coming out of my pocket. So if you want to help me out, go down to that to the super thanks thing, and just drop me a couple of dollars. I know it's tight. I know it's tight, but I believe that I provide a valid service. I'm not saying you got to pay me. Just when you think about me, if you care about me, if you care about what I do, just leave me a couple of dollars. If not, just keep watching because I'm going to keep being here. I'm going to do the best I can with what I got. So, as always, until the next time, peace out and God bless from Uncle Ricky at Uncle Ricky's house.